Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be taking a look at another one of the Nobrow books that I picked up. Nobrow, at least at one point in their career as a publisher, was putting out these really awesome hardcover books with these fabric on the side and this beautiful, beautiful paper that they use. I think because of costs, expenditures, they've gone to like a soft cover format and like still really nice paper and really good production, but not quite what these older Nobrow ones were. So I wanted to grab a bunch of the older ones before they really like went out of stock and became, some of them are becoming a little bit more expensive to get a hold of. So I went and just grabbed as much of that as I could before it all went out. But you'll see here a lot of the older ones really look like physical printmaking and stuff. So this book here, this is Moonhead in the Music Machine by Andrew Ray. This is a really fun book just about art and inspiration. This kid that's learning to make his own instrument and play it and dealing with kind of his lack of confidence and things like that. So I get really nice message throughout the book, a lot of fun art and images as well. So and concepts like here you get this where he can wake up and leave his head sleeping and just get ready and go to school, and his head could catch up with him later. And man, what I wouldn't give to have that ability to sleep in but still get to work and catch that extra hour. So he's totally a daydreamer. That's where you get this kind of visual metaphor of this person with their head can come off and go somewhere else. I think is a great visual for a daydreamer. A moonhead is just someone who's daydreaming, and you can see him here. He's sitting on the bench and he's just taking himself on this journey, and that happens multiple times throughout the book. This one here, you can see he's imagining a girl in class that he's got a crush for, and I like this imagination, this landscape that they're in here, where you've got all of these very genitally suggestive flowers and fungus and all of this, and then in this image here again you've still got all these very sexy flowers, but you've also got like springtime with all these animals humping on each other and these boob moons and stuff like this. I would say overall this is a book that should be really friendly to kids, but this one spread I would be maybe a little bit more careful about, but other than that it's got a good message for kids. There's also just some funny little jokes in here. So like here you have kind of the teacher at school that I guess is like the hot teacher, and the kids have went and messed with the string and the piano, and so she's playing the piano and says, "Oh dear, what's happened to my G string?" And the jock guys are like, "Oh, ha 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 ha, we got her to say G string while she's bending over. So now settle down, boys." So it's just like a fun little book like that. Here Moonhead you see that his parents are both kind of daydreamers as well, but he gets grounded from his room. He gets in trouble at school and gets grounded from his room because they're worried, that he's just gonna go in there and read comics. And that's actually when I would get grounded. I didn't get grounded. If I got in trouble, my parents would make me go outside and ride my bike, because if I got sent to my room, I'd have my action figures and my comics and my novels and my paper to draw with. So I totally understand that. That's funny. Here you get him listening to music, and you get this kind of Paul Klee, Vasily Kandinsky, Kazimir Malevich abstract, kind of surrealist, suprematist, modernist composition here that I think is really fun. He's obviously having a synesthetic experience with music, and to me, like, that's one of my favorite things to do, is just like put on my headphones and space out and like occupy the architecture of the music. So he's getting really interested in music and wants to be a musician, and he's going to go build. Here you see he's come up with an idea for an instrument that he's going to build, and he's going to shop class with his little sketch, and he wants to build his instrument in shop class. And then again, I just think this artist got really great attention to detail, like this just like missing finger right here, not really anything to point to it other than just the professor, or not the professor, sorry, the teacher is saying, stay safe, and then you just have that one visual cue that you could easily look over. So there's a lot of confidence as a storyteller to not really have to highlight things like that. And like the G-string joke, it took a second to land for me, understanding that people will get your jokes. And then once we get this machine built, then you get these awesome visuals here where this ghost that he's made friends with helps him play. and you just get these gorgeous pages like this. And this is where Nobrow really shines, like when they print things like this, just the way it looks on the paper they use adds some intensity to the inks, and it just feels very, very physical. It doesn't feel like most other books. So just beautiful, beautiful art. And then here, they figured out how to put the Moonhead head above the little ghost body, because Moonhead's not confident, Moonhead's not playing well, but the ghost character can play well. And eventually you learn that the ghost actually is just imaginary. It's just a place that Moonhead has to go to be confident to perform. And I really like that he learns eventually that he doesn't need that. He can just rely on himself. But here there's kind of the transformative experience of music as well. So as he plays and it goes over everyone that looks normal, they all turn into weirdos like Moonhead. And I think that's really true about music, that music really accesses something different about humans. It's really, I don't know, at least for my generation growing up, it was such a part of our identity. I get a sense that a lot of my students don't identify with music in the same way. Some of them still do, but this real sense of identity that used to come, when I was listening to music as a kid, at least, that where the outsiders became the insiders. You came together around the music like that. And so I think that's a really powerful visual representation of like where you can let go and be yourself. Like the music takes over, you're gonna dance like an idiot or whatever. Eventually Moonhead's brought to meet a record producer, and I thought that's a nice shout out. Looks like a little Easter egg kind of Rick Rubin character there. I thought that was funny. And then Moonhead eventually puts together a band with some other friends in school and is realizing that the ghost character, I know even though they have the ghost character here, the ghost character is pretty much, as far as I could tell, an imaginary character that just represents Moonhead's confidence, and then the confidence of getting together and playing with the band. And I just really like this visual here. So really fun book all the way throughout. I thought very clever and inventive. Like I said, a lot of these just beautiful illustrations that are very, very beautifully reproduced. So it's just a typical Nobrow book where you just have amazing production, amazing art, really cute story. I would say it's a kid-friendly book except for the one spring lust scene in there. But most of Nobrow's books, except for the Pantheon one and potentially this one, are pretty kid-friendly as well. So really good book. You can see my copy's a little bit beat up. Oh, and then I had to notice here, it is a little beat up because I got it's used and as a library book, but it came from Norfolk, where I spent a year. That's where I met Jack. Jack was one of my students from Strange Death of Alex Raymond, and you don't know Jack was a comic shop manager who was also a student of mine in the year that I spent at Old Dominion University in Norfolk. So it's cool to get a book from Norfolk. I don't really like library books so much because they come with the stickers all over them and whatnot. So you can see that my copy's a little beat up. Pulling the stickers off did some damage to the cover, unfortunately. These are really nice books otherwise, but you should still be able to find yourself used copies of this fairly cheap. Hopefully you can get a little bit less beat up of a one. But really, really cool books. Nobrow's a great publisher, and they should definitely be, a lot of support thrown behind them and what they're doing, even their older work. I highly suggest going out and finding their older stuff while it's still out there and available. If you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel and want to support us, there's two ways to do that. The first is through our Patreon. We have 2 different tiers of engagement there. The first tier of engagement comes with early access to the videos. Second tier gets you exclusive access to Pranay, which is the ongoing Groundhog Day web experiment with AI comic making that we're doing. When you're at that tier, you can vote and help influence where the story goes. And you also get exclusive previews of books that Sean and I are working on, our personal artworks. So that helps us pay for the books that we review. We really appreciate that. Helps us be able to keep having content for the channel. That's much appreciated. And if you want to support Living the Line itself, the best thing to do is to order some of the books that Sean's put out through Living the Line Publishing. So we'll go ahead and take a look at one of those now. Centralia is an awesome, gorgeous comic by rising Dutch star Miel van de Peet. This is his first work. It's a really great sci-fi story. There's a world in the future where the sun has gotten so hot that people can't be on the ground, so they have to run around. There's a lot of conceits that go with that. What is the world that looks like? And I think you can see by the art that Sean's description of this book as like a Moebius for young adults, a YA Moebius, is a really great description of this really gorgeous and like wild, wacky, fun book. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash